If you're from Somalia, Ethiopia, Myanmar, or South Sudan, and you're living in the United States on temporary protected status, I need you to stop scrolling for the next few minutes because what just happened this month could end your legal right to work in America, and most people affected don't even know it yet. In the span of just 2 weeks, the US government pulled the plug on TPS for 4 different countries, one after another, and if you or someone in your family holds a work permit tied to one of these designations, you are now in a race against the clock. Let's start with Somalia, because this one hit first. On August 14, 2026, a federal judge named Allison Burrows lifted a court order that had been protecting Somali TPS holders since March, and the moment that stay disappeared, Somalia's TPS officially ended. Depending on which source you check, this affects somewhere between 700 and 2,500 Somali nationals. And here's the part that catches people off guard. It's not just about losing a status on paper, it's about your work permit becoming instantly invalid. Employers are now required to re-verify every single employee who is working under a Somali TPS-based EAD, and if there's no backup status underneath it, that job is legally gone. But Somalia wasn't alone, and this is where it gets even more serious, so stay with me. Just 4 days later, on August 18th, Ethiopia's TPS protection collapsed too, and this one is massive, because we're talking about roughly 5,000 Ethiopian nationals whose work authorization expired on August 19th. A federal court had been blocking this termination for months while a constitutional challenge played out. But that block got lifted, and DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullen didn't soften the message at all, essentially telling affected individuals that once status expires, they're considered unlawfully present and could face fast-tracked removal. Now here's a small but important detail that almost nobody is explaining clearly. If you're an Ethiopian TPS holder, USCIS has told employers to write "as per court order" in your Form Y-9, with August 19, 2026 listed as the expiration date. So if your employer doesn't know this, you need to show them, because getting this wrong could cost you your job even if you technically still have options. But that's not even the strangest part of this whole situation, because the timing of what happened next tells you exactly how coordinated this all was. Myanmar, also known as Burma, and South Sudan both lost their TPS protections just days earlier, in the first week of August. So in less than 3 weeks, 4 countries went down, and if you're keeping count, that's on top of Haiti and Syria, which were already moving toward termination earlier this year. So the real question everyone should be asking right now is, why is this happening all at once? And the answer traces back to one Supreme Court decision. Back on June 25, 2026, the Supreme Court ruled in a case called Mullen v. Doe that federal courts generally cannot second-guess the Department of Homeland Security's decision to end TPS for a country unless there's a constitutional issue involved, and that single ruling opened the floodgates. Every court case that was previously blocking these terminations lost its legal foundation almost overnight, which is exactly why we've seen this domino effect hit country after country in just a matter of weeks. And honestly, this is very likely not finished because there are still other TPS designations sitting in legal limbo right now. So if all of this applies to you or to someone in your family, here's what actually matters. And I want you to pay close attention to this part, because this is the difference between staying protected and becoming undocumented overnight. First, check your specific EAD category code and your expiration date immediately. Don't assume anything based on what you read online, because every country's timeline is slightly different. Second, if you have any other potential path to legal status, whether that's a pending asylum case, a family-based petition, marriage to a U.S. citizen, or an employment-based option, talk to an immigration attorney this week, not next month, because once your only status disappears, your options shrink fast. And step 3 is the one most people skip, but it might matter most of all, so don't scroll past this. Third, if you're an employer, you are legally required to re-verify work authorization for any employee affected by these terminations, and getting this wrong can create serious liability on your end too. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Losing TPS doesn't automatically mean deportation happens tomorrow, but it does mean the legal shield that was protecting you from removal proceedings is gone, and that puts you in a much more vulnerable position than you were in even a week ago. I also want to be honest with you about something. This Supreme Court ruling means future TPS terminations are going to move faster and face fewer roadblocks than they used to. So if your country's TPS designation hasn't been touched yet, don't assume it's safe, because the legal path that was slowing these decisions down has essentially been cleared. If you found this helpful, or if this affects someone you know, share this video with them right now, because a lot of people are finding out about these deadlines too late, and that's exactly what I don't want to happen to you or your family. Drop a comment below telling me which country's TPS status you're tracking, because I'm putting together a follow-up video covering what's likely coming next, and I want to make sure I'm answering the questions you actually have. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because with rulings moving this fast, waiting even a few days to find out could mean the difference between having options and having none left.